Every day, gotta do the dishes. You racing, honey? Okay, cut. Go. Here, kitty, 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 kitty. Here, kitty, kitty. He's a good girl. No? Okay. Coordination. The 9 biomechanics principles. 1, balance. 2, coordination continuum. 3, force motion. 4, force time. 5, inertia. 6, range of motion. 7, segmental interaction. 8, optimal projection. And 9, spin. Anyways, good to go. I'm gonna come feed you. Good girl. I'm gonna go feed the cat. Oh, kitty cat! They normally come running for this stuff. Maybe they're eating outside the house. I'm gonna lock the door. I'll see you later. See you later.
Fabulous historical witnesses for school?
Yeah.
For life.
I'm not too sure. It's for at least for right. Oh, you want to shake hands with me?
Okay, sure. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
I'll get in my ready pose.
When my love stands next to your love, I can't compare love. When it's not love, it's not love. It's not love. Which is my face, which is a building, which is on fire, fire.
Grab it from this side.
Stands next to your love.
You nearly fell too. Ready?
I can't define love.
right, let's start off with an introduction. And what's your name?
Janet Roche, R-O-C-H-E,
And what course are you taking, Janet?
Biomechanics.
And is this your final project?
It is my final project. It's my clone project.
And your term you're taking?
It is fall 2014.
Excellent. Thank you, Janet.
Thank you.
All right, so Janet, this is your clone assignment. Can you explain how you made your clone?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So the first assignment was the skeleton assignment, and I started with putting some heavy-duty wire together to create the skeleton. From there, we put on the muscles, and from there, the connective tissue, which you could probably, let's see if we can't find some connective tissue. Part of the connective tissue that I did use was this leotard and this Spider-Man outfit, and I put it on the entire body, which made her very, very thin. And that was not the thing, but that was the connective tissue. So from there, we made eyes for our clone, and then we made a brain for our clone. Oh, I should go back and say, with the eyes, these are candies from China and some tubing. And then we went to the brain, and I colored in the different sections of the brain, including a little glitter on a sponge. And then we went to the heart, and the heart was made out of rolled up newspaper and electric tape. And you can see it's got the aortas and valve pumps and veins. And then from there we went to the lungs, and the lungs was made out of styrofoam board and Play-Doh. From the lungs, we went to the skin. Now I had to beef her up a little bit. So what I did was I got a whole bunch of bubble wrap, and I wrapped her up in bubble wrap. And then on top of the bubble wrap, I put some nice nylon stockings on her. And that was it. And that's how she was made. And then I put some clothes on her and a wig. And so there you go.
So Janet, what do you think one of your failures or some of your failures in making your clone?
Well, there were a couple failures. The first failure was probably my lack of muscles. Even though I had put muscles into the clone, the muscles were very tiny. They didn't have any kind of meat or girth to them in order to really support the bone structure and or be able to give the connective tissue some of the pliability that it needed. And so I would say that was probably one of my bigger failures. It doesn't feel like such a necessarily like a huge failure. I think it was just very hard to try to figure out which was her neck. And as you can see, I have tried to manipulate it from everything from chopsticks to dowels to paper towel containers, the tubes. That was actually quite difficult to achieve. The spine, I wanted to keep that movement and the range of motion that the head normally has to be able to move around without it just kind of flopping over or kind of sinking to the side. I don't have the ability to make that kind of muscle and have that muscle control that something like a clone would need.
So Janet, can you tell me some of the successes you had with making your clone?
I'd be happy to. So one of the biggest successes I think I had was making some of the organs for the clone. I made the eyes and the brain, and I thought it was kind of clever to go and make the brain out of a sponge, being that the brain is like a sponge. And with the lungs, I made aortas and veins on this on the heart. And then on the lungs, I did a lot of detail to also include the alveoles and with all sorts of little details that were necessary to represent the lungs. And another success I felt like I really had was working with the skeleton structure. I went to Michael's and I got all sorts of different crafts, and I was able to manipulate them into different parts of the body. For example, I had we got wooden Christmas balls. So they were about that big to use for different balls and sockets for my shoulders and for my hips. And I even got like a fence that you could paint and I guess use in a model. And I used that for the for my rib cage. So things like that were a success. And then lastly, I think one of the biggest successes was to try to give her some girth. She was very, very, very thin a few weeks ago. And so what I did was I put on a whole bunch of bubble wrap to give her really sort of the extra meat that she really needed on her body, especially to be my clone. So, yeah. That's it. Okay. Gotta try to pop her. There you go.
So Janet, what were some of your observations while you were manipulating your clone?
Well, the first observation was to use your terms, manipulating. Manipulating the clone without muscles is a difficult thing, and there is no ability to, keep her from doing these things if she wasn't attached to me. All of the activities we did had at least 3 of the 9 principles: balance and range of motion and coordination. The balance for myself, I was a little bit off because I had her attached to me. The range of motion, she was able to have a range of motion though because she was attached to me. And the coordination, I had some problems doing some one-legged balancing acts because my center of gravity was off. We went and we did a whole bunch of different activities. Everything from pretty domestic things like entering the house, washing the dishes, going up and down the stairs, feeding the cat, sitting and reading, and doing my hair, or doing her hair, I should say, and these things all had different parts of the biomechanics principles. Then we went outside, we did walking outside, walking on a ramp, and then we did little calisthenics of exercise, which included a lot of balance and coordination and range of motion. And then we went over to the playground and we did swinging and climbing and balancing and hanging with the clone. But one of the most significant things that we think that we came across was a scooter in the playground. And the scooter in the playground had probably some of the most biomechanical principles all in one particular activity. The scooter we found to have force of motion by applying force and do it push off. It required balance and coordination, segmental interaction, and inertia. Ultimately, the scooter was a good activity to showcase biomechanical principles.